heal, which sends them on the frenzy.
Sound like it. Sound like it. I like watching them little shows. Hey, y'all, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, y'all. Like I said, you want to show Chief some love. If you in here, because a lot of people are just not coming in. They coming. We about to get ready to get out. We've been on about 2 hours or something. Y'all just not coming in. You gonna have to rewind it, y'all. We gonna be
One more
back.
thing, you know they just had a big explosion out in California.
What? How long we write that down?
Yeah, but the name of the place is significant. The time of the explosion is significant. The fact that it's video recorded by a news station while it was happening on just a random news station camera is significant.
Look into it. I'm gonna look into all that tonight when I get off.
Right, so we got that going on. The serial killer in Houston.
Yeah,
he got 2 weeks before they catch him.
So you think they're gonna catch him in less than 2 weeks from now?
I think it's gonna be about 2 weeks.
Yeah, because the feds on him now. The feds is in on this now since there's so many
It's
bodies.
a serial killer. They've been caught in the profilers.
Yeah. The
and
profilers.
if the profilers is worth half their weight in shit, they'll be able to put his profile together in a couple of minutes. Right? And they're gonna always find the common denominator. It's all gonna tie back to the first body. The body that's been decomposing the longest is the one they're gonna focus on because the first kill is the catalyst for all the rest of them. And it's gonna be the one that's gonna yield the most evidence about the killer. And it's through that one is how they're gonna catch him. And it's not gonna, once they get the profile together, they'll have his name within about 72 hours. But they're gonna take them about 6 or 7 days to nail down his location because he's gonna be somewhat nomadic around the area, like a drifter type. They already know all this though.
Yeah.
So he got about 2 weeks to operate before they catch his ass. They might even catch him in the act, dumping the body.
Yeah, that's how good these people are getting. Yeah, so that's pretty much all besides I think the random shootings that they've been having, like the guy that ran into the boat or something like that. You
don't remember we already told them that this was going to happen?
Yeah, like they activated a lot of the sleeper cells.
Yeah, they especially in most of the ones we've seen, these events are happening in schools.
Yeah.
Overwhelming majority of them. We just got done telling them, if you don't want nothing to happen to your baby, get them out these damn schools.
That's crazy.
And people still need that babysitter though.
Yeah.
They don't want to get to do the work of putting a community of mothers together that want to protect the children, and the ones who don't got places to be at the school hours can take the children to her house. There might be 3-4 of them to divide the children up and teach them there, as opposed to letting them go to these death camps, because it's only going to get worse until the people pay attention.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that in the real life, somebody going to really die to prove a point that your child don't belong there. Somebody going to be on TV crying about losing their child, saying, we should have listened to that. We should have. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want mine in there. If you're going to put them into some type of education, make sure it's something that's a charter school or something that don't have general public access. Right. That's the way you're going to know if it's a Manchurian candidate, because it won't be somebody that go there. It'll be somebody sent there.
Right.
And you'll be able to protect your child better. In the places where they can raise the Manchurian candidate among the people they finna slaughter, he's the easiest one to use because he grew up with these people.
Yeah.
They've been seeing him every day, so they don't see him as a threat.
Yeah.
All the time between his hypnosis session and his Prozac and Ritalin or his Adderall, right? He's been programmed to be activated on a certain call. They know how to trigger him.
And you think some of them kids from that Project Cabbage Patch who were clone kids, they have a soul? They said they would be easier to mind control them kids. Like doing like they would have probably came out with doing
That came out of a super soldier program that was started under the Moors in Europe.
yeah.
It was a super soldier program. It was that was what the Cabbage Patch breeding, but that most of the children they called in Cabbage Patch Kids wasn't made literally in the laboratory. They was made in Catholic churches' basements and rituals,
Uh,
which is the source of the orphanage. That's why you always see nuns raising orphans, because nuns was giving birth and they couldn't send them nowhere, so they found a church to turn into the first orphanage.
really?
Orphanage is named after Orpheus, patron saint of children, from Greek lore, I think it is.
So the nuns are supposed to be getting booty, right? The nuns are supposed to get booty.
They swear it's the oath of celibacy, but you got to remember the patriarchy need a certain amount of rape of righteous women in order to maintain their power.
What? That's sick, boy. That's a
It's
twisted.
called the Great Rape Campaign that don't nobody never talk about. But it was to defy the sacred feminine by using temptation rituals in the priesthood. They came from out of the bathhouses of Rome,
Uh,
and they established pools under most of those churches. And in the pool, it was normally about 3 feet, and it was heated water, warm water. And the priest's temptation to eschew sex was by putting new nuns to be playing the part of seductresses into the pool, but he not supposed to penetrate them. They was coming up pregnant.
that's crazy.
Once they started coming up pregnant, then they had to find a church that can raise these children, and they would send a lot of these nuns as church mothers to overlook these children to one monastery,
Uh,
right? And they would raise the children in a regimented format. The regimented format is taken from military school manuals from Egypt and Babylon about rearing children to be beholden to your structure. So those was the children that they was bearing and raising as orphans. Your little orphan Annie story, Annie and Andy. That's what it was all about.
somebody asked
So
about. Oh, go ahead.
yeah. So when you see this Cabbage Patch Kids, remember when they told Europe to send all of their orphans over here, and then in came the orphan trains with the Cabbage Patch Kids. The orphans was from the raping of the nuns.
Well, they ain't. It
That's
wasn't a bit. Was it a million nuns getting raped? What about the? So it was test tube kids, but it was some kids coming from the rape campaign.
right. Well, they was test tube babies to begin with.
Oh, okay, all right.
They was test tube babies to begin with. They
But
was the byproduct of Babylonian breeding. Remember Malachi said the reason they had these defects because it was humans trying to play God.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
the
he's
Moors,
talking about.
dirty Moors.
Right. That's the Yakub breeding program that Elijah told us about. But we keep skipping over the part where they left Negroes in charge.
Yeah, you think so right, bro. You dang sure right.
The Negro was supposed to make sure that the paleface have a pseudo rulership because they wasn't genetically qualified to have a true rulership. But that was part of their plan to recover ascension rights from being laboratory. They needed a drop of blood. Eugenics was written by Inky. Eugenics is a derivative of genetics. The eugenics program produces the reverse psychology to create a standard of beauty, and then you tell the guys you can't have none. Reverse psychology. But you gotta remember, the pale man had his fornication under the consent of the king run for 200 years under the captivity of the family farms. The house Negro gave the management paleface men free run of all of the girls in the family.
Uh-huh.
And they was making babies by it. There was a spread they drop of blood on the fatherland. They was kidnapping whole tribes of women when the men went off to war and children and raping the women and making babies with them. Malachi talked about, I just seen the video today, Malachi was going over that about the Muskogee Creek and why some of them are so light and still got the blood.
Doing Andrew Jackson now.
Right. Now, they didn't use the same method of rape on the men that they used on the women. They used the allure of creating a beauty standard and then telling us we was too savage to have it. It's the only way to get a guy to do something is tell him what he can't do. And this is the eugenics program.
Wow.
Walter Plecker, going back to Andrew Jackson, usurpation. We not the ones that had the genetic deficiency. They only wanted the ones with the drop of blood that got rid of the genetic deficiency as part of the eugenics program. This is what they was testing for. It was celebrated through Hollywood with all of these great actors and actresses passing on the big screen in our face, behind our back. Clark Gables, Marilyn Monroes, these octoroons acting as if they Caucasians playing a role in the movie. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And all the time, all they needed was one drop of blood.
Right. Right. Fire.
What? You know what I'm saying? He's got all these AKAs, is whatever you feel, whatever you want to take on with Rod. So thank you, Rod, again for joining us on October 1st. And I thought it was really important to touch on maybe the historical aspects of Halloween and the a lot of the historical references and how we got there and why we put such emphasis on that particular holiday. And I know you've got the breakdown, so I'm gonna just but wait, hold on. Let's say hello to our YouTube family first. Everyone give a shout out to Hot Rod Hayes in the house. Okay.
Feathers up, feathers up.
So
okay, we can roll the corn.
Okay, let's get it. So Rod, and obviously I don't have to introduce you because all my people know your people and we know people, so we all people now. So we don't have to do the introduction as normal. But I wanted to kind of talk to you, and I was really curious. So I wanted to go to the veteran of historical archives and kind of get your take on the references and how we got to Halloween as far as the American diaspora, how we kind of utilize that as a holiday. But I want you to break it down, like where we arrived there and what the importance of October is, especially American history.
Well, In 1491, the day that they call Halloween was the Pumpkin Festival. All Hallows Eve is their rebranding for financial purposes and marketing to create Halloween as a way to make money.
Mm-hmm.
But the Pumpkin Festival traces back to certain tribes in the South. The Pumpkin Festival is divine feminine metaphor. The pumpkin became a sacred vegetable because it mimicked the posterior of the women. So every time they stomp out the divine feminine, they rebrand it for something else.
Mm.
The pumpkin festival preceded the turkey harvest, which they called Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't Thanksgiving, it was the turkey harvest, the feast of the turkey, where the new chief, Big Mama, sit him and his family at the table of honor, and she give him a freshly roast turkey to cut.
Mm.
This is who invited the pilgrims to the celebration. Halloween, on the other hand, had also ancestral reverence connections for the pumpkin festival, right? And just like Granny in the cartoon with Tweety Bird, and she walking around with the big old posterior,
Mm-hmm.
that was a lot of our big mamas.
Ah, yes.
So when they crossed over on the pumpkin festival, it was like a family inside joke about Big Mama's posterior being big as a pumpkin, right? So we attach the ancestral reverence to the pumpkin harvest. And sometimes when we dress up in our ceremonial attire,
Mm-hmm.
it looks what modern people would call demonic because it's embracing the aspect of life called death,
Mm-hmm.
which is part of the cycles, right? And so they took it and called it All Hallows Eve after a European holiday, right? They even moved the dates to line up to match.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because we still gonna do ours,
Yeah, of course.
right? But the Christian church came in and declared war on the holiday because the Christian church is the source of the war on the divine feminine,
Mm.
usurping the sacerdotal seat, the Isis seat, or set seat, the seat, Mary seat,
Mm.
Hail Mary, Mother of God. What that make her? I love to say that.
Yeah.
What that make her? She the God maker.
The creator of God. Yes, yes, yes.
Because when she had the baby, they named him Emmanuel.
Mm.
But they didn't tell you that they was telling you both of their story at the same time, Isis and Horus, as if it was one person.
Yeah.
But when you read the dialogue, you can tell there's two different people speaking, at least in the words in red. They don't agree. They got different frames of thought. One talk like a warrior and one talk like a lover.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The mother is the lover. If you go to the scene, there's a scene of Mary laying on the steps. Uh, it's supposed to be the reenactment of Tammuz, right? This is what they incorporating in to the Christian doctrine in the Nicene Council as the imagery, iconography of the crucifixion.
Mm-hmm.
But Jesus is Isis. And the only one that was sitting on the Isis seat during the contemporary period was Cleopatra. So the trick or treat moniker came from Europe,
Yes.
right? because it was actually a prankster day from the
Yes.
Vandals.
Yes.
It was the prankster day created by the Vandals. Remember, they used to tear shit up.
Mm-hmm.
They used to. That's why vandalism is named after the Vandals,
Mm.
right? And so they had a custom when they call All Hallows Eve of playing pranks on people. So
Wasn't that called the day before is called what's
Devil's
it?
Night.
Yeah, where we throw eggs and everything like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. So there was supposed to be designed to intimidate the people to give them a treat, or they gonna play a trick on them.
Mm.
And the trick used to come in many different forms. Burn the shit on the porch.
Mm. That's foul. That's foul.
And
That's
they'll come
cruel.
out and stomp it out.
Oh, God.
The jack-o'-lantern is design ceremony, right? Original jack-o'-lanterns was more elaborate than they try to tell us. They try to tell us that the original jack-o'-lantern just had two holes poked in it with a candle in the pumpkin.
Yeah, in the mouth,
Why
like
was you
extra.
putting candles in pumpkins? Whose custom is that?
Mm.
Whose custom is it to put a candle in the pumpkin, and what is its purpose? See, we be forgetting that most of the culture that we had is still in practice. They just rebranded it so that when our genetic memory, we feel okay practicing our heritage,
That's right. That's right.
right? The pumpkin with the candle in it was the symbol for the bake off. You put the pumpkin up and let them know that, okay, now it's time for everybody to come taste the pie.
Oh, okay.
Right? So all of that is still part of native culture, but we've got it rebranded as modern pop culture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But Halloween wasn't always an evil holiday, and neither was Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was, a, a big deal for us. It was the harvest. We
Yes.
dividing up food to send them to different tribes from the harvest. And the turkey harvest was specifically for recognition of the new